we have completed the regular season, and now let's get to the highlights of the Week 18 matchups. We had the Eagles taking on the Washington Commanders, and in what is likely going to be Donovan McNabb's last season, or last season with the Eagles at least, the 38-year-old gets a victory, throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And they rise up to 7-10 in what has been a disappointing season. Next up, we've got the Ravens versus the Steelers. Steelers looking at the slightest bit of hope. Unlikely to make the playoffs here, but it is the Steelers who come away with the win. Roethlisberger over Manning, and we see the victory there, 35-21. So there is the Steelers coming away there with a victory. Both disappointing seasons for both teams. Cleveland wins the division. The Tennessee Titans taking on the Jaguars in another game that does not matter at all. And we have the invisible quarterback, Brett Hundley. It's a sneak play. It's a trick play, having an invisible quarterback. But Delaney Walker gets the touchdown there, 21-20. The Titans get their 4th win of the year, but they still hold the number 1 overall pick. Then you had a game that mattered. The Patriots, if they lost this game, they were out of the playoffs. And right here, Tom Brady comes away with a very, very impressive game. 26-22 in a tough matchup. Patriots win, and Patriots end up getting the 6th seed here in the 2016 playoffs. Jets versus the Bills. Another kind of playoff game. Jets wanting to win this one to solidify a playoff spot. And it is Alex Smith dotting the I there in a very tight matchup. Going 10-7 on the year. Marcus Mariota in his rookie campaign with Joe Philbin, first-time head coach, falls short. And they go 8-9 on the year. And one more game highlight here. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Las Vegas Raiders. This is another playoff game. Winner goes to the playoffs, loser goes home, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs and Blake Bortles who come away with the victory over Matt Ryan and the Raiders, and Hugh Jackson with the Raiders. So we see right there the 20-18 victory, a very tight matchup, but it is the Kansas City Chiefs winning the game and making the playoffs. All right, and here we go. We have the rest of the Week 18 recaps. So you saw the Patriots and Dolphins. Big game there. New England gets the much-needed victory. 49ers defeat the Seahawks. That gives them a tied record for first in the NFC West. Then you get the Chargers narrowly defeating the Broncos in what was a blizzard game. So that was a lot of fun, actually. 2 touchdowns for the Chargers. They went for 2 in the first time they scored a touchdown and failed. Then they got the touchdown to take the 12-9 lead, and I just kicked the field goal to end the game, or the extra point. Chiefs Raiders, you saw that highlight. You saw the Jets over the Bills. Now the Cowboys beat the Giants, so that anchored their victory as the NFC East leaders. The Vikings beat the Packers and actually knocked them out of the playoffs. And originally the Packers were supposed to be locked in for the playoffs, so I was surprised that actually knocked them out. I thought they anchored it. But yeah, tough loss there for the Packers. You have the Buccaneers over the Panthers, 17-12. Buccaneers, I believe, are the number 1 seed in the NFC, which I did not expect. I think it was because the Seahawks were in number 1, and when they lost, they were 11-6, and I think Tampa Bay has a better division record. Then you got the Colts beating the Texans, and that was more of a pride victory there, just because they were able to knock Houston from being the 3rd seed to the 4th seed. You got the Rams just narrowly beating the Cardinals, and that saved their playoff. I think maybe if they lost, the Packers or some of the other teams would have may have beat the Rams for the playoff spot. We saw the Pittsburgh-Baltimore, but still the Steelers unable to make the playoffs because that's a 9-win season. They needed 10 wins. You got the Lions beating the Bears. That gets them they actually won their division. I didn't expect the Detroit Lions to do it again, but they did at 9-8. Browns just pummeled the Bengals. What was it? Terrell Pryor had 87 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Just an absolute crazy madman. He's going to be tough in the playoffs. Then you got the Eagles and Commanders. You saw that. Saints crushed the Falcons. And then you had the Titans narrowly defeating the Jaguars. News, I don't know if there's anything there. Top performers. So you got Newton, who came up short, but he was a top performer. Alex Smith, Chris Johnson, Doug Martin. Oops, I didn't mean to click on him. Mike Wallace had a superstar performance, 164 yards, 1 touchdown. And that wasn't a loss, though. The Cardinals did put up a fight. Whitney Mercilus, 3 sacks. And we look at Robert Quinn, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and somehow got an interception there as an edge. Rookies got Mariota playing well, even though he lost. Ajayi, Brett Hundley with 59 overall, 2 touchdowns, 176 yards. Gets his first win of the season. A little too little, too late. Gurley somehow got there. I guess decent receiving yards there, 2 touchdowns. Winston defeating the Seahawks with 2 touchdowns. And Yeldon, 72 yards there and a touchdown. Rivers played most of the game in the second half. This was where I thought the Packers were safe, so I subbed him out. I thought I didn't want to get Brock Osweiler injured, but I guess technically they didn't secure the spot. And I mean, I thought they were in a secured spot there in the playoff picture. I thought they clinched it. So I guess I'm just going to say Brock Osweiler got injured, and Rivers came in with 2 touchdowns, 117 yards. Just came up short. They could have gotten the 2-point conversion to win the game. They failed the 2-point conversion. And so the Vikings recovered the onside kick. Went three and out, and they kicked a field goal. That's why it's 34-38. Todman had a good game there for a lower overall running back. Disappointment, Garoppolo with those 4 picks. Hopkins not getting any catch in the loss against the Colts. Spiller and Vick. So the Texans just sucked. And I think what happened was, I forgot if I pulled people out later. Let me see that game. Did I put backups in? Texans. Where are the Texans? No, I did. So, yeah, what happened was the Texans already locked down their they already locked down their season. So Simeon ended up being the starting quarterback. And so despite the rookie losing, he still played the Colts tough. That's right. So don't put much thought into the Texans' loss there. Injury report. Nothing really to show there. Transactions. We did do a bunch of contracts. So like Newton and Smith and Haloti Ngata. A lot of the superstar players ended up getting attempts to sign. And a lot of them took it. So I'm just slowly going through this. You can see a lot of it's by team there. So a lot of teams there getting some players were signed. I realized that Calais Campbell was a duplicate. There's 2 Calais Campbells this season. So this is the 39-year-old that should not be in the league. So I ended up reducing his overall and got rid of him. Now let's go and dive into the standings before we go into the playoff picture. So we got Miami, New York, and New England all going to the playoffs, all with double-digit victories. The Patriots are only 2-4 in their division, where the Dolphins are 5-1. Their only loss was to the Patriots in the last game of the season. Browns are the 3rd seed in the AFC with an 11-6 record. Pittsburgh 1 win shy of possibly a playoff spot. Baltimore and Cincinnati not even close. Texans benched their starters the last game of the season, going 11-6. Colts 6-11. Jaguars 6-11. Titans number 1 overall pick. Chargers and Chiefs make the playoffs. Chargers landing the number 1 seed in the NFL and the number 1 seed in the AFC. Then you got the Raiders, and actually it was the Raiders and Chiefs. Winner was able to get the 10th win, and they would make the playoffs. I think Oakland and Pittsburgh would have had a chance if the Patriots lost. If the Patriots were 9-8, I think the Steelers were 4-2 in the division, and the Raiders are 2-4 in the division. So yeah, Pittsburgh would have made the playoffs if the Patriots lost. Unfortunately for them, they did not. Then you got the Cowboys, who landed the 10-7 record. Nobody else from the NFC East made the playoffs. The New York Giants were shy, 8-9. Then you got 2 7-10s. Then there are 3 teams. And see, this is weird to me. Because the Packers are listed here as a playoff spot. But when you look at the playoff picture, they're not in there. So maybe it was the Madden franchise tool is making a mistake here. So I saw them as clinching the playoffs, which is why I didn't push too hard, even though it was a very tight game. But in doing so, they got knocked out of the playoffs. So, yeah, I guess that was a tough mistake. 3 teams, 9-8. The 5-1 division record Detroit Lions win the division with Rob Ryan as coach and Ryan Tannehill. So I think they're going to be a quick out because I don't think Detroit's that good this year. I don't think they've been that good anyways. But they fought their way back, and I think there was like a crazy win streak. What do they do at the end? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 7-2. It's like a 7-2 run or 7-1 run for the Detroit Lions at the end of the season. That 7-game win streak there, in 8 games, gives them the playoff spot and the division. Bears 6-11, they're done. Of course, they were out for a while. They were like almost a bottom feeder team. I thought they were in the running for Jared Goff or Wentz, but they played themselves out of that pick, I believe. Then you got the Buccaneers, number 1 team in the NFC. That's kind of a stretch, but here they are. Saints 8-9, Falcons, Panthers. What's interesting is the Falcons traded with the Ravens with Peyton Manning, and they both had the same record to end the year. So neither one did well. So they didn't. Manning was not the reason they were 6-11, but he was the reason that the Ravens were 6-11, or I guess all the drops the Ravens had. Then you got 3 teams here making the playoffs in the NFC West. Niners actually win the division. Seahawks 11-6, and Rams 10-7. Cardinals, the Super Bowl champions, I think 2 years ago, go 6-11. Not what you wanted to see. Draft order, it is going to be Titans. As you can see, they picked up a 3rd and a 6th round pick in the Jennings trade. Bengals. Jaguars have the 3rd overall pick. So that's interesting because they're also a team that really wants a quarterback. I don't know if the Bengals move on from Derek Carr or if they decide to trade back because I could see Chicago wanting to move up to number 2 for Wentz. The Colts could want Wentz. Ravens would want Wentz, but they're not going to trade in the division. I don't think the Bengals would do that. Cardinals have Dalton. Panthers are number 8. Falcons number 9. Eagles 10 there. Then you got the Commanders, 2 first-round picks. They got the Bills and their own. That was the Mariota trade. Whoops. Denver sitting there between the 2 picks. Sandwich picks there for the Commanders. You got Giants, Saints, Packers who slipped. And again, they got a lot of draft picks because they got the trade with LeSean McCoy. Vikings are in the playoffs, so I think starting 17, this is the playoffs. So we'll see how the playoffs rank these different teams. When we're looking at the league leaders, not league leaders, player stats, because that's where you see more of them. It's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, 3 of the most dynamic quarterbacks of that generation. Andy Dalton and Cam Newton finish up the top 5 with Rodgers, McNabb, Smith, Ryan, Gabbert behind them. Touchdown leaders, you got Newton, Rodgers, Smith, Brady, Carr. Then Roethlisberger, Mariota, Dalton, McNabb, Ryan, Osweiler right there at 30 with several others tying. Interception leaders, we got 29 from Carr, 29 from Flacco, 26 from the old man McNabb, and then 24 from Colt McCoy, Andy Dalton 22. They're the players with the most interceptions. Most sacked was Tom Brady. So despite the fact that he still found a way to get his team to the playoffs, he had 35 sacks. Donovan McNabb, 31. Tannehill, Vic, and Winston. Rushing yards, we got Chris Johnson, 1,700. Best, McFadden, Murray, Terrell Pryor did end up getting by 1 yard into the top 5 with Richardson right behind him. Foster, Stewart, McCoy, and Spiller filling up the top 10. Yeah, Chris Johnson with touchdowns, 23 touchdowns on the year. Doug Martin with 21. Murray, McFadden, Stewart, Spiller, Richardson, McCoy, Todd Gurley, and Terrell Pryor. Let's see. Receiving, we got Mike Wallace, Olsen, Johnson Jr., Hardy, Beckham Jr., Diggs, Gordon, Green, Adams, and Sanders. Top 10 in receiving yards. Touchdowns. We got Calvin Johnson Jr. with 16. We got Wallace, Diggs, Beckham Jr., Landry, Tate the third, Larry Fitzgerald, Julio Jones, Thomas, Dorsett, finishing the top 10. And I guess there's a tie there for top 10. So Cooper, Jackson, Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen have double-digit touchdowns this year. I love this. This is, I think, fantasy football points. So Chris Johnson, he's got the most fantasy football points. If you got Chris Johnson in your fantasy team, he was making bank. Then you got William Moore tying Desmond Southward for the most tackles on the year with Wilson, Pollard, Manning, Mays, Thomas, Johnson, Mathieu, and Landry, all with over 100 tackles. Tackles for losses, we got Von Miller, Fowler, Mark Anderson, he's been fantastic for the Bucks in his career. Irvin, Willis, Timmons, Khalil Mack, KJ Wright, all with 20 or more. And then Pierre-Paul and Martin with 19. We look at sack leaders. It's Von Miller. It's Fowler, Mingo, Mercilus, Irvin, Timmons, Vernon, Brown, Pierre-Paul, and Kiwanuka. Interception leaders. We got Southward with 7. Clinton Dix, Clemens, Barry, and Quinn with top 5 with 6 interceptions. And then from Robinson, Wagner, Teo, Carr, Mosley, Elam, Carroll II, Durant, Quan Alexander, Sean Smith, all getting 5 interceptions. So now we'll look at the week preview, or maybe I can just go here to the playoff picture. We got Chargers and Bucks getting the first round bye. So that's Aaron Rodgers clinching that first round position. And you got McFadden and Gabbert there. Head coach Vinny Testaverde with the Buccaneers first season as the Bucks head coach takes them all the way to the number 1 seed. So he was a pretty solid coach in my franchise. So good to see him being successful. But then you got to see who's going to win between the Chiefs and the Dolphins. My money's on the Dolphins. They are just so explosive. Even though the Chiefs are not terrible, Chiefs are not the Dolphins. Then you've got the Patriots versus the Browns. So the Browns are the 3rd seed. Terrell Pryor is scary. But then it is Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, he's hungry for that's another Super Bowl. Then you got the Jets versus the Texans. And the Jets are a very tough 5th seed. Alex Smith, LeSean McCoy, they got weapons. Texans have Michael Vick, and they've been doing pretty well. But is Michael Vick's speed and running ability enough to overcome the Jets? And even though they are the home seed, the home team there, the 4th seed, they are a very vulnerable 4th seed. I think Cleveland and Houston are pretty susceptible to their wild card opponents. Then you've got the Vikings taking on the 49ers, and I think anything can happen there. As much as I like Jameis Winston and these Niners, he is a rookie. And then you've got RG3 and the Vikings. They are a pretty tough team. I would probably, I think the 49ers have a good chance of winning that one because they do have a lot of options as well, good weapons. But Vikings are a tougher 7th seed than we give them credit for. Then we got the Rams and the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys do have Russell Wilson, Peterson, Fitzgerald. So they have a pretty stacked team. They're pretty good from the East. But the Rams have Andrew Luck. And the Rams are, all these playoff teams are pretty tough. And I think the Seahawks do have the chance of besting the Lions. Lions are a very weak division winner that's now in my postseason. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Let me know who you think could possibly win in this playoff season. A lot to discuss here, a lot of opportunity. But here we are, getting to the closing of the season and looking forward to this upcoming Super Bowl.